27 people in hospital. Unfortunately, this city is no stranger to football-connected tragedies, and here we have another one this May bank holiday.
Let's go back to Liverpool, where it's been confirmed in the last half hour that 4 children are among dozens of people injured after a car ploughed into a crowd during the Liverpool FC victory parade. Jenny Sims, Assistant Chief Constable of Merseyside Police, gave an update at a news conference a short time ago.
What I can tell you is that we believe this to be an isolated incident, and we are not currently looking for anyone else in relation to it. The incident is not being treated as terrorism.
Well, Dave Kitchen from the North West Ambulance Service confirmed the details of those injured.
Our emergency ambulances took patients to our NHS colleagues at the Royal Liverpool Hospital, Alderhay, Arrow Park and Aintree hospitals. Sadly, 4 of the injured were children who were enjoying the day with their friends and their families. We can confirm that our teams treated 20 patients at the scene for minor injuries, and these did not need hospital treatment. 27 patients in total were taken to hospital by ambulance, and we believe 2 of those, including one of the children, have sustained serious injuries. Our cyclist paramedic, who was on scene, was also unfortunately struck by the vehicle, but I'm pleased to report that no injuries were sustained.
Well, let's go now to Nick Ellerby, who's in Liverpool for us tonight. And Nick, we were getting more details from that news conference from the police, the North West Ambulance Service, and indeed we heard from the fire service. I'm sure there will be at least some relief after this horrendous incident tonight, that no one appears to have been killed.
Good evening, Carol. Yeah, that is the kind of grim news we were waiting for, and we also wait overnight for the extent of those injuries. You heard from the ambulance service there that 27 people were taken to various hospitals around Liverpool after that black SUV drove into a number of pedestrians on the streets, on Water Street in the centre of Liverpool, right down by the docks, right near where the Liverpool Football Club Premier League parade was taking place just after 6 p.m. But yeah, as I say, 4 people we understand seriously injured, and also one of those, four children among the 27 injured. 2 people seriously injured, and one of those is a child. We had an update from the fire service who told us that they were informed of the incident at 7 minutes past 6 this evening, and their crews were on the scene within 4 minutes, but they found 4 people under that car, and one of the people under that car was a child. So, I guess good news that no one's lost their lives yet, but we wait to find out the exact condition of those people that are in hospital. And as the authorities, Liverpool Football Club, Everton Football Club, the Premier League have all messaged, have all been out on social media and in the media today, our thoughts and feelings and prayers are with all those victims and their families.
Yes, it was clearly an absolutely horrendous incident, just as hundreds of thousands of people were out in such celebratory mood. One of the other significant developments that we heard in that news conference, Jenny Sims of Merseyside Police saying that this was being treated as an isolated incident, not being treated as terrorism. That clearly quite significant.
Yeah, so the PA agency at around 8 p.m. Put out that counter-terrorism units officers were on the scene working with Merseyside Police, but she did tell us that they believe it to be an isolated incident. They weren't looking for anybody else apart from the 53-year-old white male from the Merseyside area that they have detained. When I arrived at the scene just after 7, I did see about 6 police officers manhandling a white, middle-aged, bald man, patting him down, holding a backpack, presumably his, and putting him into the back of a police van. They understand that the man they detained, the 53-year-old man, was the driver of the vehicle. And as I say, they're not looking for anybody else at the moment in relation to this, but they are continuing their investigations into what happened in the lead up to this. And really, thankfully, there were so many police and so many ambulance crews already in the streets of Liverpool today, because we had 1 million people on the streets of Liverpool, an estimated 1 million people on the streets, enjoying, despite the wet weather, a fantastic parade. And it was a real party of a day until just after 6 p.m. it turned horribly sour.
Yeah, and of course, a devastating incident in a city like Liverpool, where football is so important to so many people. And the police were talking about how they had a robust traffic management plan in place, but clearly there will be questions, won't there, Nick, about why a car was able to be driven into a crowded area like this when so many streets were supposedly sealed off to vehicles.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there were so many people on the streets. I was in that very area at around 2 or 3 p.m. this afternoon. It wasn't exactly adjacent to the parade. It was probably 3 or 4 blocks away, but it was really right in the centre of Liverpool, between the docks and between the kind of the main shopping district. So it's a street, it's an area that everybody who lives in and around Liverpool will know very well. And yeah, I mean, 27 people in hospital. It's unfortunately this city is no stranger to football connected tragedies, and here we have another one this May bank holiday.
Nick Ellerby, really good to speak to you. Thank you so much for joining us with the latest from Liverpool tonight.
Turn now to our top story this morning, and that is the car ramming in Liverpool last night. 47 people were hurt, 1 child and 1 adult were seriously injured. Let's get some reaction and consideration of this with Pat Maloney, Liberal Democrat councillor for the Childwall ward in Liverpool. Pat, welcome to the programme.
Thank you, Callum.
Thank you for speaking with us. It's so difficult to even begin with this, Pat, because this is Liverpool is not a big city, and I feel like the community of Liverpool is perhaps particularly evident both in the celebrations of yesterday and then in the horror that unfolded as well.
Indeed, it was a very sad event on what was a very, very celebratory day, and I'm sure both sides of Liverpool, both the Blues and the Reds, were had slightly different views about the victory parade, but when it comes to a tragedy like this, everybody unites together. And of course, our main concerns are those who were injured, and especially the 4 children and the 1 child who was seriously injured. And I'm sure that the hospital staff at Alder Hey will be providing the best possible care for that child, and hopefully everybody makes a full recovery as soon as possible.
Of course, absolutely. I wonder, Pat, if you can help us understand where this happened. For those of us who are not as familiar with Liverpool, the city was crowded yesterday, as we say, with the celebrations through the course of the day, and so we imagine that roads were closed, that the parade route was defined, that crowds were given some element of reassurance of closures and safety, really, to be out and about yesterday.
Yes, the route actually included the Strand, which runs parallel to the river, and those who, I'm sure most people have heard of the Liverpool building, which is actually on the banks of the river, and the Strand runs behind that, and that was the parade route, and Water Street runs down from the town hall down across the Strand to between the Liver building and the Cunard building, which is now the council offices. So it's only a very short stretch, a few hundred yards, that's about all. It's not a long road, but it's one of the 7 ancient roads in Liverpool.
And in terms of the parade itself, these things, as we've been reflecting on the programme, they're not unusual, kind of victory parades and huge crowds showing out for them. The mayor of the Liverpool City region, Steve Rotherham, has suggested this morning that this street had been closed off, and so that has to be part of the consideration of how this happened, how a car was there in the first place.
It certainly is a relevant question, and I was surprised when I heard that a car was going down Water Street, but I'm sure that will be thoroughly investigated by the police.
Yeah, of course. In terms of the police response so far, the other observation that's been made, Pat, is that information about the person arrested was put out there pretty quickly, and perhaps that is best contrasted with the incident, the attack, the murder of 3 young girls in Southport last summer, where there were questions as to why it took so long to get information about the perpetrator of that particular attack. Does it feel to you as though Merseyside Police has responded more effectively in this circumstance?
Self-evidently. Last summer, another great tragedy, only 20 miles up the coast from Liverpool in Southport, where 3 young girls were murdered. The public concern and sorrow about that act was tremendous, and it's a difficult balancing act for the police between releasing information, some of which may not be complete or even correct, because at times like these, rumours abound, and so it is a difficult balancing act, and I do recognise that the police have tried to address that issue.
At these times, Pat, I'm often reminded of a phrase, I suppose a slogan to some extent, that in the midst of the horror to look for the helpers. And I'm aware that in Liverpool there is no shortage of helpers. Even stories that I've been seeing on social media of the community pulling together, offering to drive people home from the parade, these sorts of things. That must be something that you are looking to be involved in, to encourage as a local councillor. What does today look like for you?
Well, certainly. I have good contact, obviously, with the residents in my ward, and most people were on the way home. I've heard reports of as many as 1 million people on the parade route, which is twice the population of the city. Clearly, it was easier. If this had been in a different place, it may have had a greater effect in terms of people being able to get home. But because this was localised so close to the river, and obviously the Strand was closed for a long time, but the main transport links, both rail and road, were still accessible.
Pat, thank you very much for your considerations this morning. We're grateful for you joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. That's Pat Maloney, who is a Liberal Democrat councillor for the Childwall ward in Liverpool.